Miller Coors is captive to single rail carriers at all but one of our breweries and at numerous origins and destinations. As a result, we do not have any bargaining leverage with the serving rail carrier in these situations regarding rates and service. You've heard today and will continue to hear about the unfair changes that the railroads have made to their demurrage rules. Miller Coors agrees that these changes by the railroads are not warranted to improve productivity, but that they are purely a way to increase revenues. Because of the demurrage dispute in early 2018, NS imposed an embargo at its New York Suffern Yard and refused to deliver Miller Coors products to our distributor, Manhattan Beer Distributors. As stated earlier, Manhattan is Miller Coors' sole and exclusive route to market to service the critical New York City market. As you would expect, the greater New York City market is one of the most important sales regions for Miller Coors. As we understood the situation, NS was in a dispute with Manhattan over demurrage. As a result, it imposed an embargo on and was not delivering Miller cars to Manhattan. Miller Coors, not Manhattan, was NS's customer in this situation. We advised NS that the cars they were holding hostage contained perishable product. Miller Coors also advised NS that these cars had left its brewery before the rail carrier imposed its embargo on Manhattan. Miller Coors was given no warning of the embargo and was only told about the situation when its rail cars of beer arrived at the Suffern Yard outside of New York City. Miller Coors also explained to NS that Manhattan was the only beer distributor it could use for distribution purposes in New York City. The bottom line was NS had no dispute with Miller Coors, and there was no rational reason for NS not to deliver the cars. But even after being advised of these unacceptable and financially damaging circumstances, NS employees refused to move these rail cars to Manhattan.
Imagine yourself walking into a McDonald's restaurant and being confronted with a list of charges, like things like taking too long to order a meal, sitting too long to eat, or trying to dispense ketchup out of one of those pump containers. While this might seem like a far-fetched extension of demurrage and accessorial charges, I have to ask you one question. Where could you get away with imposing these charges in any business today and still retain your customers? The answer is the railroad industry.
Railroads rarely, if ever, accept accountability for the effects of service disruptions and inconsistencies upon their customers, even when the railroad is at fault.
NS claimed on December 4th, 2018 letter to the STB that they're only making these changes to properly align stakeholder incentives with improving our asset utilization, because using assets more efficiently will lead to network fluidity and better service. However, these demurrage storage changes have not had that type of impact. The only impact has been a substantial increase in its revenues for demurrage and storage charges. For example, NS also increased the one-day demurrage charge by 50% from $100 to $150 in the tariff without any basis. Based on the reports that the NS has submitted to the board this year, NS's quarterly review for demurrage has skyrocketed from approximately $55 million in the first quarter of 18 to $79 million in the first quarter of 19. In other words, in 1 year, the amount of revenue earned per quarter from demurrage has increased by nearly 44%, and it's not gone unnoticed by their stockholders.
Over the past 2 years, many of our rail partners have taken us on their journey toward PSR. Over this time, IP has had to contend with reduced service and unmet carrier commitments, increased rates, and a dramatic growth in demurrage and accessorial fees that are increasingly unavoidable the way they are constructed.